Prologue. Moscow, September 1977. The city is living in a sense of security. Soviet ideology proclaims, in a nation of advanced socialism, there is no crime. Children walk freely until late evening. Mothers leave their prams at shop entrances. Who would dare harm a baby? But something changes this month. September 16th. Outside a milk distribution center on Marshal Biryukov Street, a pram vanishes. A young mother steps out of the building. The pram is gone. Her 3-month-old daughter disappeared. Hours later, the child's body is found in a nearby stairwell. What was done to her defies comprehension. Even hardened investigators from Moscow's criminal police are horrified. This is only the beginning. Over the next 38 days, 4 more infants will vanish. Moscow descends into terror. Reports reach Leonid Brezhnev himself. The criminal police launches one of the largest operations in its history. And when they finally capture the killer, they discover something shocking. The murderer is the son of a Soviet hero. The son of General Lieutenant Anatoly Biryukov. Today, we tell the story of the Soviet Union's most terrifying predator, Anatoly Biryukov, known as the baby hunter. This is a story about how trauma transforms a person into a monster, about how a system of silence leads to tragedy, and about how a father disowns his own son before an entire nation. Part 1. Biography. Son of a hero. Birth and family. February 18, 1939. The city of Lopaznya in Moscow Oblast, today known as Chekhov. A boy is born. His name, Anatoly. His father, Nikolai Ivanovich Biryukov, is a career military officer. But Nikolai Biryukov is no ordinary soldier. He is a hero. During the Great Patriotic War, he fights in brutal battles at Stalingrad. He defends Smolensk. He liberates Budapest. For courage and heroism in 1945, he receives the title of Hero of the Soviet Union. On the general's chest, a gold star, 2 orders of Lenin, 2 orders of Suvorov, the Order of Kutuzov, and dozens more. The Biryukov family lives in comfort. The general's status brings privilege, an apartment in Moscow, food rations, respect. For little Tolya, everything seems perfect. The explosion, childhood trauma. But at age 8, something happens, something that changes everything. Like many boys of his time, Tolya is fascinated by weapons. His military father keeps ammunition in the house. The boy gets an idea. He'll make homemade explosives. He steals a bullet cartridge. He clamps it in a vise. He tries to saw it open with a hacksaw to extract the powder. The cartridge explodes. Metal fragments and gunpowder embed in the child's face. His cheek is mangled, a scar that will mark him for life. From this moment, Anatoly's life splits into before and after. School, bullying. Details vary between sources, but one thing is certain. At school, Anatoly faces relentless bullying. Children are cruel. They don't understand that their mockery can shatter a person. An ugly scar on the face becomes a target for ridicule. According to some accounts, Tolya invents stories about the scar. A pot of boiling water, scalded by soup. But the children mock him regardless. He becomes withdrawn. He stops playing with other children. He avoids contact. Some sources say he excels in school, trying to compensate for his isolation through academic success. Other sources say he skips classes, comes home beaten. What happens at home remains a mystery. Some say his father, Nikolai Ivanovich, raises him strictly, demanding he become a soldier. Others suggest the parents are too preoccupied. But one fact remains: the boy has no friends. He grows up in isolation. Youth, the father's shattered dreams. The general dreams that his son will follow in his footsteps, that Anatoly will become a soldier, that he'll build a military career. It doesn't happen. Anatoly graduates from vocational school. He becomes a mechanic. He gets a job at a factory. For a general lieutenant, a hero of the Soviet Union, this is a blow. His son, an ordinary factory worker. But colleagues speak well of Biryukov. Quiet, responsible, hardworking, never causes trouble, always does quality work. Soon Anatoly marries. A daughter is born, then another. On the surface, an ordinary Soviet family. A father working as a mechanic, a mother raising children. But something is wrong inside. By Biryukov's own confession during interrogation, after the birth of their second daughter, his wife stops sleeping with him. Intimate life ceases. It's then, he admits, that a monstrous urge begins to grow within him. Part 2. First attempts. The system fails. 1971. The first attempt. It's 1971. Anatoly is 32 years old. Walking home from work, he passes a children's playground. He sees a pram with an infant. The mother has stepped away, just for a moment. Biryukov approaches the carriage. He grasps the handle. He begins pushing it. Away. Farther. Farther. The woman emerges. She sees nothing. She screams. People rush over. They catch Biryukov just meters away. He's detained. Police are called. At the station, Anatoly insists it was a joke, a bad joke. He was teaching a negligent mother a lesson for leaving her child unattended. The officers investigate. Works as a mechanic at a factory? Confirmed. A responsible family man? Confirmed. Father is a general, a hero of the Soviet Union? Confirmed. No criminal record? Confirmed. Decision. A fine for interfering. Release him. The first warning sign is ignored. 1972. The second attempt. A year passes. 1972. Biryukov attempts to steal another infant, this time directly from a residential building. He steals the pram, with the child inside. He's caught again. This time, escape is impossible. The motive? Police conclude, pram theft for resale. Children's carriages, especially imported ones, are scarce in the Soviet Union. They can be sold for profit. Biryukov accepts this version. Yes, he wanted the pram, he claims. He didn't notice the child. They believe him. Sentence: 3 years imprisonment. While Anatoly serves his time, his wife files for divorce. She takes the daughters. On the prison labor camp, Biryukov keeps his head down. He's well behaved. Released early for good conduct. He returns to Moscow. He finds work as a mechanic at a construction company. He lives alone. His former family wants no contact. Colleagues continue to describe him positively. Calm, responsible, doesn't drink, doesn't cause trouble. But inside him, something grows. Why did the system fail? Twice, Biryukov attempted to abduct infants. Twice he was caught. Twice, the danger went unrecognized. Why? First, ideology of denial. In the Soviet Union, serial killers and pedophiles officially do not exist. No newspaper articles, no television reports. Citizens believe crime is a disease of the decadent West. The police don't see Biryukov as a pedophile, because such men couldn't exist here. Second, family status. The son of a hero of the Soviet Union cannot be a deviant. This destroys the image of the perfect society. Third, absence of systems. The Soviet Union had no advanced psychiatric evaluations of criminals, no databases, no profiling. 2 abduction attempts were dismissed as stupidity and petty theft. Biryukov served 3 years, time enough to accept his desires will never disappear. Next time, he would act differently. Part 3. September-October 1977. The Hunt. September 1977. Moscow lives its ordinary life. Young mothers visit milk distribution centers, government facilities that provide free infant formula. The lines are enormous. The rooms are cramped. You cannot bring a pram inside, so mothers leave their carriages outside. Everyone does this. Who would touch a child? Biryukov knows this. He systematically scouts milk centers, pediatric clinics, shops, anywhere mothers leave prams unattended. He is organized, patient. He has a plan. September 16th, 1977. The first murder. Marshal Biryukov Street, a milk distribution center. A young woman leaves her carriage with her 3-month-old daughter at the entrance. She goes inside. The line moves slowly. Biryukov waits for his moment. He sees a pram, unattended. He approaches. He grasps the handle and calmly pushes it away. No one notices. A father taking his child for a walk. Ordinary. He moves farther, around the corner, into an alley. He enters a nearby building. He climbs the stairs. He places the girl on a windowsill. He undresses her. Then, a door opens above. A voice is heard. Biryukov panics. He could be discovered. He could leave the child alive. But he doesn't. He pulls a knife. With one motion, he slashes the infant's abdomen open. He leaves. Hours later, the child is found. She is still alive, but barely. She cannot be saved. Cause of death: acute blood loss from knife wounds. Initial investigation. Theories. The criminal police begins its investigation. First theory: infanticide. The mother murdered her own child. But witnesses confirmed the mother was standing in line when the abduction occurred. Second theory: abandonment. A baby was abandoned here. But the pram remained at the scene. Forensic analysis proves the child was killed on location. Third theory: piquerism. Sexual gratification derived from inflicting wounds. This is unprecedented. In the Soviet Union, such criminals officially do not exist. The case receives special attention. October 1977. The series continues. Weeks pass. The second victim. Again, a milk distribution center. Again, a missing pram with an infant. This time, Biryukov finds an abandoned lot. He assaults the child. He kills her. He discards the body in a dumpster. The third victim. Similar circumstances, but now the criminal police understands. Moscow has a serial killer, a predator hunting infants. The case is reported to the Soviet Interior Minister, Nikolai Shelikov. The information reaches Leonid Brezhnev himself, General Secretary of the Communist Party. The order? Find the criminal, at any cost. Panic in Moscow. Despite media silence, rumors spread instantly. Mothers stop leaving prams unattended. Guardians appear at milk centers. Police patrol the neighborhoods. But Biryukov continues. The fourth victim. The fifth victim. In just 38 days, 5 murdered infants. Moscow lives in fear. The criminal police launches one of its largest operations. Hundreds of witnesses are questioned. Dozens of suspects are investigated. Special focus: individuals previously convicted of crimes against children. And then, a name emerges: Anatoly Biryukov. 1971. Attempted pram theft. 1972. Pram theft with child. 3 years imprisonment. Coincidence? October 24, 1977. The arrest. October 24, 1977. Operatives move in on Biryukov. They maintain surveillance. He is detained on the street. A search of his belongings reveals a knife. Forensic analysis confirms blood on the blade matches one of the victims. Biryukov confesses. He describes each murder in detail, but most disturbing, he shows no remorse. He explains his actions as an uncontrollable urge. He says he tried to fight it, but he couldn't. Part 4. Psychological Analysis. Nepiophilia. What is it? Forensic psychiatric evaluation produces a diagnosis: Nepiophilia, sexual attraction to infants. This is among the rarest and most dangerous deviations. Biryukov understood what he was doing. He planned his crimes. He concealed evidence. The expert's conclusion? He is sane, legally responsible. How is such perversion formed? The question haunts everyone. How does an ordinary person become a monster? Scientists identify several factors. First, childhood trauma and social isolation. A scar on the face, bullying in school, isolation, withdrawal, no normal interactions with peers. Anatoly grew up alone. He had no experience of healthy human relationships. Second, sexual frustration. Problems in his intimate life with his wife. Rejection. According to his account, she refused him after the birth of their second daughter. Instead of seeking help, Biryukov sought alternatives. Third, a sense of power. Infants cannot resist. They are ideal victims for a man who has felt weak and humiliated his entire life. Violence against helpless children gave him an illusion of control. Fourth, absence of empathy. Biryukov feels no guilt, no remorse. He does not think of his victim's suffering, does not imagine the mother's anguish. To him, infants are objects, not human beings. Important. We do not excuse him. We explain the mechanisms of deviance based on scientific understanding. Part 5. Trial and Execution. The trial. The verdict. 1978. The trial of Anatoly Biryukov takes place behind closed doors. Case materials are classified. Transcripts are sealed. But the verdict is known. Death by firing squad. Biryukov does not appeal. He accepts the sentence. The father's disavowal. The most tragic moment of this story, the father's response. Nikolai Ivanovich Biryukov, General Lieutenant, hero of the Soviet Union, publicly disowns his son. He declares, "This man is no longer my son. I do not know him. Let him receive the punishment he deserves." Imagine, a war hero. A man who survived Stalingrad and Budapest. A man who saved lives. Now learns his son murdered infants. What does he feel? Shame? Guilt? Hatred? We will never know. But one fact remains. A father renounced his son before the entire nation. February 24th, 1979. The execution. February 24th, 1979. Moscow. Butyrka Prison. Anatoly Nikolaevich Biryukov, age 40, is executed by firing squad. His burial place remains unknown. There is no grave, as though he never existed. Epilogue. The legacy of horror. The story of Anatoly Biryukov is not merely a criminal chronicle. It is a lesson. A lesson that childhood trauma can shatter the psyche. A lesson that silence and denial do not solve problems, they worsen them. A lesson that a system, ignoring the first warning signs, condemns the innocent. If, after the first attempt in 1971, Biryukov had been sent for psychiatric evaluation, if after the second attempt in 1972 he had been deemed dangerous and isolated, 5 infants would still be alive. But the Soviet system did not work that way. Ideology mattered more than lives. Silence. The case of Biryukov received no newspaper coverage, no television reports. His name appeared in public only in the 1990s when archives began to open. Soviet authorities preferred to forget, but we must remember, because forgetting is a betrayal of the victims. Today, in modern Russia, psychiatric services exist. There are databases. There are systems to monitor dangerous individuals. But the problem of child abuse has not disappeared. Every year, hundreds of children become victims of violence. The story of Biryukov reminds us, we have a duty to remain vigilant. We must protect our children. And we must remember the 5 infants whose lives were cut short in the autumn of 1977.